The unexpected gift. John Carter was just a simple human. He worked as a mechanic on Starbase 9, a quiet space station far from Earth. He fixed broken engines, cleaned old space junk, and helped travelers passing by. Life was boring, but peaceful. That peace broke one strange afternoon. John sat in his small workshop, sipping cold coffee. Suddenly, the station lights blinked red. A warning flashed on his screen. Incoming ship. No identification. Before he could react, the station commander called him. "John," the voice crackled over the intercom. "A strange alien is asking for you by name." John's eyebrows rose. Who would ask for me? He rushed to docking bay 3. Standing there was an old alien wrapped in a dark green cloak. His skin was gray and wrinkled, with deep scars across his face. His eyes glowed faintly blue. The alien bowed deeply. "John Carter, do you remember me?" the alien asked in a soft voice. John looked closer, and then he remembered. 5 years ago, he had rescued an alien ship from crashing into an asteroid belt. The pilot was badly injured, and John had dragged him to safety. The alien had disappeared afterward, leaving only a short thank you note. "You're Varnak," John said slowly. The old alien nodded. "You saved my life. A life debt is not a small thing in my culture. Now, I must repay it." John laughed nervously. "Well, I wasn't expecting anything. Just doing my job." But Varnak shook his head. "I must give you something of great value." He clapped his hands. A second figure stepped out of his ship. A young alien woman. She was tall, graceful, with silver hair and glowing teal eyes. She wore a long cloak and carried a serious, cold expression. Her arms were crossed, and she looked away from John, clearly angry. "This," Varnak said proudly, "is my daughter, Zara. She now belongs to you." John froze. "What? Wait, I don't want a person. That's not okay." "It is not slavery," Varnak said calmly. "This is our way. She will serve and protect you. She is skilled in science, combat, and languages. She will be your companion, helper, and guard, until the life debt is fully repaid." Zara said nothing. She just stared at the wall, her eyes full of silent rage. John looked at her, then back at Varnak. "This is crazy. I don't need a helper. Or a guard." Varnak bowed again. "The debt is paid only if she stays. Goodbye, John Carter. Treat her with respect." And with that, Varnak turned, walked into his ship, and flew away. John stood there, shocked. Beside him, Zara finally spoke. "I didn't choose this," she said in a cold voice. "Don't think I want to be here." John sighed. "Me neither." Back at his quarters, John gave Zara the guest room. She didn't say a word. She sat near the window, staring at the stars. She refused food, refused conversation. The next morning, John introduced her to his coworkers. "Hey guys, this is Zara." His friends stared, wide-eyed. One of them, a pilot named Mick, whistled. "Wow, John, got yourself an alien bride." "She's not my bride," John snapped. Zara said nothing. She just walked away, clearly annoyed. Later that day, John found her in the repair bay, scanning the broken control panels with advanced alien tools. "You're fixing my systems?" he asked, surprised. "I don't sit around and waste time like humans," she said. John rolled his eyes but smiled a little. That night, he found her trying to secretly send a message from the comm room. "What are you doing?" he asked. Zara narrowed her eyes. "Calling for someone to take me away from this place." John stepped forward. "You'll get us both in trouble if you contact unknown ships." "Then let me go," she growled. "I can't. Your father dropped you here, and I don't want you dead if you leave alone." She looked at him with burning anger. "I am not weak. I never said you were." She stormed past him. But that wasn't the end of the trouble. 2 days later, Alarms rang across the station. John ran to the security center. Someone tried to open the emergency airlock. The guard shouted. Could have killed us all. John's heart sank. He knew who it was. He ran to the hallway and found Zora standing near the sealed airlock, caught by security bots. She didn't struggle. She looked calm, even proud. Let me leave, she said. John stared at her. You were ready to risk your life. I'd rather die than be your servant. John sighed. Then let's not be master and servant. Let's just survive together. You can help me, and I'll give you space. Zora looked at him, unsure. For the first time, her voice softened a little. We'll see, human. Trust issues. The air on Starbase 9 felt heavier after Zora's escape attempt. John didn't press charges. He told the station commander it was a misunderstanding. But everyone knew. People whispered in hallways. Some said John had bought her. Others joked that alien women were dangerous. A few even warned him to sleep with one eye open. Zara heard it all. She didn't speak much after that. But her eyes said everything. Sharp, alert, cold. John didn't try to talk to her either. He gave her her own schedule, her own corner in the workshop. She didn't follow orders, but she didn't sit idle either. She repaired what no one else could. She hacked tools with ease. She even upgraded John's old robot assistant, giving it speech and humor. You're not bad at this, John said one day, as she finished fixing a reactor panel. I know, she said flatly. Then silence. One evening, John walked into the storage bay and saw something strange. Zara had taken apart a piece of alien tech he'd never seen before. It looked advanced, military grade. Where did you get that? He asked. Zara didn't look up. I built it. From scraps. For communication. John froze. You're building a transmitter. I'm not your prisoner, she said. I have the right to speak with my people. If that message reaches the wrong ears, John said, voice tight, you could bring danger here. People who think I stole you. Zara finally looked up. You saved my father. I understand that. But he gave me away like a trophy. Do you think I'm happy about it? No, John said quietly. But I didn't ask for this either. Later that night, Zara sat alone in her room, staring out the window again. Suddenly, her door opened. She didn't turn. I know I can't stop you from contacting your world, John said behind her. But I'd rather you tell me if you do, so I can prepare, for both of us. She turned slowly. Why would you care what happens to me? Because, he said, I've seen what happens when people treat others like tools, and I promised myself I'd never be like that. Zara studied him for a long moment. Then, for the first time, she nodded. But the quiet didn't last. 3 days later, an unknown ship appeared near the station. It didn't answer hails. Its signal was scrambled. Then it broadcast one short message. Release the girl, or we take her by force. The station commander called John to the control room. You've got 5 minutes, she said. Either explain what's going on, or we hand her over. John rushed to Zora's room. They found you, he said. Is that your people? Zora looked pale. No, she said. That's not my father's ship. That's someone else. Who? She hesitated. My betrothed. Commander Vekor. He's powerful. Dangerous. He thinks I belong to him. John blinked. You're engaged. Not by choice, she said. It was arranged. I refused. My father sent me away instead. So this was to protect you. Zara nodded slowly. My father owed you a life debt. But he also used it to hide me. John's heart pounded. We have to run. Zara shook her head. He'll chase us. He always does. The station rocked violently. A plasma blast hit the outer hull. The alien ship had started attacking. John grabbed Zora's hand and pulled her into the engineering bay. We need to disable their weapons. Can you hack their systems? Zara nodded, pulling out the device she built earlier. But I need a direct line of sight. John led her through smoke and chaos to the emergency pod hangar. There, they launched a small drone toward the enemy ship. Zara connected her device. For a moment, nothing. Then sparks flew from her tool. Almost there, she whispered. The enemy ship suddenly stopped firing. John looked at the radar. You did it. Zara gave a small smile. Temporarily. Their shields are down, but they'll reboot in 5 minutes. We've got 5 minutes then. John grabbed a plasma rifle. Zara picked up a scanner. They boarded a small combat shuttle and flew toward the ship. Inside the enemy vessel, they moved silently through smoke-filled halls. Zara knew the layout. It was a warship from her homeworld. In the command room, they found him. Commander Vekor. He was tall, armored, and cruel-looking. His voice was cold as steel. Zara, he said, come home, or I kill your human. Zara stepped forward. You're not my future, she said. I choose my own path. She threw a flash grenade. The room lit up with blinding light. John and Zara attacked together. John fired at the control panels, while Zara disabled the engines. Vekor tried to escape, but Zara caught him with a stun dart. He collapsed. Back at Starbase 9, the damaged alien ship floated powerless. The station commander gave John a long look. Next time, she said, tell us when your girlfriend brings war to our door. She's not my girlfriend, John muttered. Zara stood beside him, quiet, tired, but strong. You didn't have to come with me, she said softly. I didn't want to, John replied, but I couldn't let you fight alone. She looked at him. No anger, no ice, just calm. Maybe, she said, you're not like the others after all. John gave her a small smile. Maybe you're not either. The alien attack. The lights on Starbase 9 flickered all day. Engineers rushed to fix systems damaged during Commander Vekor's surprise assault. Half the station was still without full power. Shields were low. Morale was even lower. John didn't sleep. Not much. Zara didn't either. She stood near the observation window, arms folded, watching Vekor's ship float like a broken beast outside the station. Its engines were silent. Its weapons offline. But something didn't feel right. He's not done, she whispered. John turned toward her. We disabled his systems. He's in a coma. Your dart hit him hard. Zara shook her head. He's not the type to give up. Not even in a coma. And she was right. That night, a ship approached. But it wasn't Vekor's. It was something bigger, older, hidden. No ID. No comms. Just silent movement. John was called to the command center. The station commander stared at the radar screen with tight eyes. Another visitor. You sure it's not a rescue team? No, Zara said, appearing beside them. That's a hunter ship. A slave collector. My people use them when someone breaks off from the royal line. John's blood ran cold. You mean, they came for you? She nodded. They think I'm broken property. The commander cursed under her breath. We're not a battlefield. We're a trade station. Zara's voice turned ice cold. That ship doesn't care. They'll take me, or destroy this place trying. 5 hours later, chaos began. The hunter ship opened a wide transmission. A mechanical voice echoed across the station. This is High Directive Vessel VRA-17. You are harboring a rogue royal. Release her immediately, or be cleansed. The people on the station panicked. Families grabbed bags. Ships undocked and left in a hurry. Half the crew wanted Zara gone. The other half were too afraid to act. Zara stood alone in the central hall. Eyes followed her. Hateful. Nervous. Scared. John pushed through the crowd and stood beside her. She's staying, he said loudly. Someone shouted from the back. She's the reason we're under attack. Another voice. Give her up before we all die. Zara's fists clenched. Her eyes burned. I didn't ask to be here, she shouted. I didn't want this, but I won't run. Not again. A silence fell. Then John stepped forward. Anyone who touches her deals with me. The attack started 30 minutes later. The hunter ship launched pods, robotic assassins, made of black metal and sharp claws. They tore through the outer hull. Screams filled the comms. John and Zara ran to the defense bay. The station guards were overwhelmed. Droids swarmed in, targeting Zara specifically. She's marked. One soldier gasped before falling. John fired at the machines. They're tracking you. By heat, blood, DNA. Zara ducked, rolled, and stabbed a droid with an alien blade. Genetic code. I'm royalty, remember? I glow like a torch to them. They ran deeper into the station. In the engineering bay, John came up with a plan. We need to blind them. Take out their sensors. If they can't track you, they'll go wild. Zara frowned. That means knocking out our own systems too. Better chaos than death. Zara looked at him, then nodded. Let's burn it down. Together, they planted EMP charges around the sensor towers. Sparks flew. Lights dimmed. The station went black for 12 full seconds. In the dark, the droids lost control. They attacked walls, machinery, even each other. Zara and John moved through the shadows like ghosts. But then, they heard it. A low humming. A new sound. John's heart dropped. Another ship had arrived. The monitor blinked. Vecker's ship, reactivated. John stared in disbelief. That's not possible. Zara's eyes widened. They fixed him. The hunter ship must have revived him. As if on cue, Vecker's voice echoed across the station's emergency channel. You thought a little dart could end me. I am royal blood, Zara. You are nothing without me. Give yourself up, and I'll spare the human. John clenched his jaw. This guy's got serious control issues. Zara's face was calm, but her hands were shaking. No more running, she said. Let's end this. They reached the command bridge, where the last defense team was holding out. John handed Zara a custom blaster. This is a prototype. Might overload. Might explode. Zara smirked. Perfect. They faced the final wave. Elite droids sent by Vecker, wrapped in energy shields and cloaking fields. Zara didn't hesitate. She leaped into the fight, using both alien tech and human grit. John followed, fighting like a man with nothing to lose. Explosions shook the halls. Alarms screamed. At last, they reached the core room. And Vecker was there. Alive. Taller, with cybernetic arms and cold fury in his eyes. You were meant to be mine, he growled at Zara. No, she said. I was meant to be free. And she fired. The prototype blaster hit Vecker's chest. It exploded in white light. His armor shattered. He screamed and fell, silent this time. For real. Zara fell to her knees, exhausted. John caught her. You okay? She nodded, tears in her eyes. I'm free, she whispered. Really free. The hunter ship left after Vecker's death. Their contract was broken. They had no reason to stay. The station slowly returned to normal, though many still looked at Zara with fear or awe. In the repair bay, John replaced broken panels. Zara worked beside him. Still want to leave? He asked casually. She thought for a moment. I don't know where to go. And for the first time, I don't want to go alone. John smiled. Well, he said, plenty of junk left to fix here. And I could use a partner. Zara smirked. You'd fall apart without me. They both laughed. And for the first time, they weren't strangers anymore. A deadly drift. 2 days had passed since the battle. Starbase 9 was quiet, but not peaceful. Half the defense systems were gone. Engineers worked around the clock to repair shield generators, patch hull breaches, and replace power cores. Most of the civilians had already evacuated. Only station staff, Defense units and a few stubborn workers remained. And John. And Zara. They stayed. Not because they were heroes, but because they didn't have anywhere else to go. John sat inside the control room, staring at a blinking warning on his screen. Gravitational anchor offline. Orbital stability failing. He leaned back in his chair, rubbed his tired eyes, and muttered, "Great. Now we're falling." Zara walked in, carrying a plate of food. "Well, something like food. I added some human spices," she said casually. John looked at the blinking red light, then at her. "We have a bigger problem than your cooking." She raised an eyebrow. "Bigger than that." He turned the screen to her. Zara's face went serious. "We're drifting," she said. "How bad?" "If we don't fix the anchor core," John said, "this station will fall into the gravity well of the nearby gas giant." "How long?" John paused. "Maybe 48 hours, maybe less." They rushed to the lower decks where the gravitational anchor system was located, or what was left of it. When Vector's soldiers had attacked, a reactor overload had destroyed the stabilizer core. Now, the metal room was filled with smoke, heat, and twisted wires. Zara stepped inside first, scanning the area with her alien scanner. "This can't be repaired," she said. "Not the way it is." John sighed. "So what do we do?" She looked around. "We can reroute the anchor to the cargo fusion coils. But, it's dangerous. Very unstable. If the fusion coils overheat, they'll explode." John smirked. "So, just another normal Tuesday." They worked all night. Zara used alien tech to create a stabilizing matrix. John did the dirty work, crawling into vents, tightening bolts, welding pipes. They didn't talk much, but there was a silent rhythm between them now, like they had known each other longer than a few weeks. Once, Zara nearly slipped off a beam into the fire below. John caught her wrist. Their eyes met, close, breathless. "Careful," he said softly. She nodded. "Thanks." He helped her up. She didn't let go of his hand right away. The next morning, they activated the makeshift gravity anchor. For a few minutes it worked. The station's path slowed. Alarms turned green. John smiled. "We did it." Zara checked the readings. "No," she said, her voice suddenly cold. "Something's wrong." Then the lights went out. The floor shook. A deep boom echoed through the station. John and Zara raced back to the command center. On the main screen, they saw it. A second explosion. The fusion coils were failing. Heat levels rising. And worse, someone had sabotaged the system. Zara accessed the logs. Her eyes narrowed. "There's a hidden signal. Someone remote triggered an override." John frowned. "But who?" "Vector's dead. The hunter ship is gone." Zara looked pale. "No," she whispered. "Not gone. Watching." She pulled up deep space scans. A faint signal shimmered on the edge of the system. "It's a cloaked ship, very old, very powerful." John's heart sank. "Another one of your people." Zara shook her head. "Worse. That's not a ship. That's a temple vessel." John blinked. "A what?" "A sacred ship," she explained. "Used only by the royal priesthood. They handle punishments for those who shame the bloodline." John felt cold. "You mean, they came to erase you?" Zara nodded slowly. "And now, you too." They didn't have much time. With the station slowly being pulled toward the gas giant, and a cloaked enemy ship sabotaging systems from afar, John and Zara had two choices: escape the station and run forever, or stand their ground, disable the enemy ship, and try to fix the anchor before the whole place burned up in the atmosphere. "I say we fight," John said. Zara smiled faintly. "You always say that." "Yeah," he said, "but now you agree." They gathered weapons, scanned the old temple ship's signal, and made a plan. They boarded a stealth shuttle and flew toward the hidden vessel. The ship was massive, dark silver, floating like a ghost in deep space. No lights, no engines, just silence. But it was alive, watching. As they landed on its surface, John felt a chill. The walls were covered in glowing runes. Strange, pulsing veins of light ran along the floor. It didn't feel like metal. It felt alive. Zora whispered, "This ship isn't just technology. It's a living memory, an ancient mind." John looked around. "So we're inside a haunted spaceship brain." Something like that. Inside the core chamber, they found it. A central orb, radiating pulses of power. This orb was transmitting the sabotage signal back to Starbase 9. They had to shut it down. But the ship knew they were there. Walls shifted, strange shadows moved, ghostly voices echoed. Zora gritted her teeth. "It's testing us." "What kind of test?" John asked, holding up his blaster. "The kind that kills if you fail." Suddenly, a shadow lunged at John. Zora fired first. An energy blast lit up the chamber. The creature screamed and melted. But more came. Dozens. John and Zora fought side by side. Again. The old temple ship tried everything to stop them. Mental visions. Ghosts from Zora's childhood. Whispers calling John a thief of blood. John almost collapsed under the pressure. But Zora pulled him up. "You're not a thief," she whispered. "You saved me. You gave me a choice." Together, they reached the orb. John pulled out an EMP charge. "This is gonna be rough," he said. Zora placed her hand on the orb. It glowed and showed her a vision. Her father, standing proud, smiling. "I never gave you away," he said in the vision. "I set you free." She closed her eyes, then nodded at John. "Do it." He triggered the EMP. The orb exploded in light. The shadows vanished. The ship went silent. Back at the station, systems returned online. The sabotage stopped, and the gravitational anchor held. They were safe, for now. In the quiet after the storm, John and Zara stood by the window, watching the gas giant spin below them. Zara spoke softly. I want to stay." John smiled. "Took you long enough." But Zara's face grew serious. "This isn't over. That ship was just one. My bloodline won't stop. They'll send more. Bigger. Stronger." John placed a hand on her shoulder. "Then let them come." Life on the line. Starbase 9 was holding together. Barely. The station had survived sabotage, an ancient alien temple ship, and a slow fall toward a gas giant. Now it floated steady, with emergency systems online and shields at 50%. But peace was short. Trouble was coming again. And this time, it was worse. Zara stood in the center of the command deck, eyes locked on a new warning screen. Multiple warp signatures detected. Royal Battle Fleet incoming. She didn't blink. "They're here," she whispered. John walked in, wiping grease off his hands. "Who's here now?" She turned slowly. "The High Blood Council. My people's ruling class. My family." John frowned. "Family reunion. More like execution squad." Zara explained. The orb on the temple ship hadn't just been a tool. It was a beacon. A last test. A final chance to prove Zora was still loyal to the bloodline. She failed, and the council was coming to erase her completely. Not just her, but anyone who helped her. That meant John. That meant the entire station. Later, in the hangar, Zara sat alone on a crate. Her eyes stared into the distance, her hands shaking slightly. For the first time, John saw fear in her. "I've seen them fight before," she said softly. "They don't show mercy. They don't send warnings. They just clean." "You're not a stain," John replied. She didn't answer. He sat beside her. "Zara, look at me." She turned slowly. "We survived Vekor. A hunter ship. A temple vessel. We'll survive this too. You don't get it, she whispered. They don't just kill. They erase. John leaned closer. Then let's give them something they'll never forget. Hours later, the first ship dropped out of warp. It was huge, 20 times the size of Starbase 9, shaped like a blade, with glowing red lines across its hull. Then another arrived. And another. 7 ships total. Zara's face grew pale. That's the Blood 7, the execution fleet, sent only when royal betrayal is confirmed. Feels nice to be popular, John said dryly. They activated the station's shields. Weak. Patchy. The fleet sent a message. Surrender Zara Varnith of House Crix. You have 10 minutes. No second chance. John paced in the control room. The station commander, wounded but back on her feet, stood beside him. You gonna give her up? She asked. John looked at Zara across the room. No. Then we're all gonna die. Not if I buy us time. John walked to the main comms panel and opened a wide broadcast. This is John Carter of Earth. You want Zara? You'll have to come through me first. And I don't go down easy. Zara stared at him. You just declared war on a royal fleet. He grinned. Yeah, I have a habit of doing stupid things. But then, a strange thing happened. The fleet didn't fire. Not yet. Instead, they sent something worse. A small silver pod. It landed in Docking Bay 4. Inside it was a person. An alien woman, covered in ceremonial armor. A priest of the Blood Council. She walked calmly into the command deck, alone, holding a small cube in her hand. Zara froze. John stepped forward. Who are you? The woman spoke in a deep, smooth voice. I am Elitha, voice of the council. I offer a single mercy. Zara stepped between her and John. I know what that is. A death cube, a clean, painless end. They want me to choose my own death. Elitha nodded. It is our way. Zara looked back at John. I won't take it. Elitha's eyes narrowed. Then the council will come, and they will not leave survivors. John raised his blaster. Then maybe it's time someone showed them how humans deal with threats. Elitha didn't flinch. But then, Zara screamed. A sharp pain shot through her side. A sniper blast. From outside the station. She collapsed to the floor. Blood spread across her armor. John caught her as she fell. Zara, stay with me. Elitha stepped back, untouched. Silent. This is your last chance, she said coldly. Then she vanished into thin air, teleported back to her fleet. The med bay lights flickered as John slammed the table. Save her, he shouted at the robot medic. The droid beeped. Alien biology not fully mapped. Too many internal differences. John's hand shook. Zara's eyes fluttered open. Let me go, she whispered. Save yourself. Shut up, he said. You don't get to die. Not yet. He pulled out the one thing he'd never used, the alien healing core Zara had installed on the station weeks ago, just in case. It was untested, unstable, could explode, the robot warned. Good, John said. Let's gamble. The healing pod glowed blue. Zara's body trembled as the machine rewrote her cells, trying to stop the bleeding. John sat by her side, watching every number on the screen. Her heart stopped once, then again. But then, after 5 long minutes, her chest rose slowly. The screen blinked green. Vital signs stabilized. She was alive. But no time to celebrate. The blood fleet was moving. 7 ships, arming weapons. Zara lay weak, still unconscious. John grabbed his comm. This is John Carter. One last message. He sent it across space, toward Earth, toward any human ship near the outer colonies. To any humans receiving this, I need backup. I'm holding off an entire alien execution fleet. Just me and one half-dead royal. They want to erase her. I won't let them. This is what humanity does. We protect those who trust us. If you can hear me, come. Miracle and betrayal. The healing chamber hissed as it opened. Steam poured out. Zara lay still, her eyes closed, wrapped in layers of nanofiber skin and glowing medical bands. Her chest rose and fell slowly. A sign of life. A miracle. John stood beside her, exhausted but alert. He hadn't slept in almost 40 hours. His face was dirty, his knuckles bruised, and his weapon sat ready on the table beside him. He had almost lost her. Again. The station outside was falling apart. The blood fleet hovered like hungry predators, their weapons charged, but they hadn't fired yet. They were waiting, watching. Elitha, the priestess, had not returned, but John knew she would. And this time, she wouldn't come alone. Inside the med bay, Zara stirred. Her fingers twitched. Her head moved. Then her eyes opened, glowing faintly blue. John leaned over her. Zara, he whispered, you're back. She looked at him, confused. Weak. How long? Too long. She tried to sit up, but pain shot through her ribs. Don't, John said gently. You almost died. She turned her head slowly. You used the alien healing core. Had to. She blinked. It could have killed me. I'd rather you die trying to live than die giving up, he said softly. She looked into his eyes, then nodded once. For a few hours, things were quiet. John helped Zora move around again. She was slow, but recovering. Her mind was sharp, her will stronger than ever. They worked together to power up the last emergency shield line. They ate quietly, John sharing tasteless rations, while Zora complained they tasted like sponge meat. They even laughed. For a moment, it felt like the worst had passed. But then, it began. The station's sensors picked up a new signal. Small ship. Fast. Human. John stared at the screen. Wait, I know that ship. He ran to the docking bay. As the door opened, an old friend stepped out. Liam, John shouted. Liam Trask, a fellow human pilot John had once served with during the Sol Rebellion, smiled wide and threw his arms open. You called, so I came, Liam said. Took a little detour through enemy space, but hey, what's life without a little risk? John grinned. You have no idea how good it is to see a human face right now. Back in the command center, Liam met Zora. She nodded stiffly. You trust him? With my life, John said. Liam bowed slightly. Your Highness. Zara rolled her eyes. Please don't. Together, they planned. Liam had brought powerful comms tech and a signal booster. With it, they could call for a larger fleet, maybe even a Terran defense force. There was hope now. Until things started to feel wrong. That night, John found Zora staring at a blinking red light on the wall. What is it? He asked. She said nothing, just pointed. It was a tracking beacon. Hidden. Human-made. John's blood turned cold. Only one new person had arrived today. They burst into the docking bay. Liam stood beside his ship, holding a datapad. Hey, what's going on? He asked casually. John raised his blaster. Don't move. Liam smirked. Oh, you found it. Zora's voice was quiet. You sold us out. Liam shrugged. You're worth a lot, Princess, especially to the Blood Council. They said they'd spare the station if I gave them your exact location. John stepped forward, eyes burning. You were my brother. We fought together. You said. I lied, Liam said. I'm tired of running, John. Tired of always being the little guy. With this, I get a new life. Credits. Power. Peace. John clenched his jaw. You won't get any of that. He fired first. Liam ducked behind a crate, returning fire. Zora grabbed a plasma wrench and threw it. It struck Liam's blaster and knocked it out of his hand. John tackled him. They crashed to the floor. Fists flew. Blood spilled. But John had more to lose. He knocked Liam unconscious. Later, tied up in the cell, Liam said only one thing. "They're already coming. You're too late." Zara turned to John. "We need to leave." But John shook his head. "We're not running. Not this time." Zara frowned. "The Council will destroy this place." "I know," he said, "but Earth is listening now." John boosted the comms with Liam's stolen gear. His message was sent across the stars. "This is John Carter of Earth. Starbase 9 is under siege by the Alien Blood Council. I stand with one of their own, who chose freedom over blood. If we fall today, let this message carry our stand across the galaxy. Let them know humanity never bows." Zara watched him speak. Something stirred in her chest. Not fear, not anger, but pride, and something deeper. She reached out, gently touched his hand. "I never thanked you," she whispered. "You're welcome," he replied. And for the first time, they kissed, soft, quick, but real. Then the sirens screamed again. 7 ships, lights blazing, weapons armed, descending like gods of war. Elitha's voice echoed across every speaker on the station. "Zara of Kryx, John Carter of Earth, this is your final dawn. Die with honor." John looked at Zara. "You ready?" She nodded, eyes fierce. "No more running. Debt of honor." The stars outside Starbase 9 shimmered with fire. 7 massive ships, the blood fleet of the alien royal family, moved into attack formation. Their hulls glowed red, energy weapons charged. They surrounded the small station like lions circling prey. Inside, John Carter stood at the main window, staring out. He wasn't afraid. Not anymore. He had already faced death a dozen times since Zara arrived. What he feared most now was losing her. Zara stood beside him, dressed in her royal armor, what was left of it. She had added parts from Earth tech, a symbol of both worlds on her shoulders. She looked like a warrior, like someone who had stopped running. The station crew worked quietly. They knew this might be their last day. Some wanted to escape, but most stayed. John had inspired them. His message to Earth had been received. Ships were coming, but they were hours away. And the blood fleet was ready now. A message came through the comms. It was Elitha, the priestess of the Blood Council. "This is your final moment. Surrender the traitor Zora of House Kryx, or be cleansed." John stepped forward, turning on the wide broadcast mic. "This is John Carter of Earth," he said, "and I have a better offer. No one surrenders, and you don't cleanse anyone. Because today, we fight back." The first blast came from the lead ship. A beam of red fire shot toward the station. The shields held, barely. The second and third ships followed. Explosions rocked the outer decks. Fire burst through the maintenance halls. Systems shorted out. Zara and John rushed to the command room, coordinating the station's limited defenses. "We need to hit them where it hurts," John said. Zara nodded. "Their flagship. If we destroy its core, the rest will fall back. They'd follow strength. If they lose their center, they scatter." "But we have to get inside that ship," John said. "I know." She looked at him. "I'm going alone." "No way. It's my fight." John grabbed her arm. "Our fight. I didn't come this far to let you die without me." Zara stared at him, then nodded once. They prepared a stealth shuttle, tiny, fast, armed with a core destabilizer. Their goal, sneak into the flagship through its underbelly, reach the control chamber, and plant the charge. If it worked, they'd disable the enemy fleet's chain of command. If not, they'd both die. As they launched, the station took another hit. But they were already gone, floating silently in the shadow of the great warships. Zora guided the ship with steady hands. "There's a blind spot under the main wings. We slip through there." John kept watch. "We've got 1 minute before their sensors cycle." They reached the vent shaft under the massive flagship. John pried it open, crawled inside. Zora followed. Inside the enemy ship, the air was thick with power. Red light pulsed through alien hallways. Priests in black robes walked silently, unaware that 2 ghosts were creeping through their walls. Finally, they'd reached the command core. A huge glowing orb pulsed in the center of the room, guarded by 2 warriors. Zara stepped forward first. "I'll distract them." Before John could argue, she ran into the open. The guard saw her, shocked. The traitor, capture her. But she moved like lightning. She threw a smoke bomb, twisted behind one, and struck him down. The second one aimed, too late. John shot him from the shadows. The room was clear. John planted the charge on the orb. Timer set. 60 seconds. They turned to run. But Elitha was already there. She stood in the doorway, tall, calm, terrifying. "You could have been a queen," she said to Zora. "Now you'll be a memory." Elitha raised her hand. A glowing blade of energy appeared. John stepped between them. "No more running," he said. Elitha slashed at him. John blocked with his blaster. It shattered. Zora jumped forward, kicked Elitha across the room. The priestess flew back, but recovered fast. Zora drew a hidden blade. "Let's finish this." They fought. Alien speed, human grit. Elitha was stronger, but Zora was smarter. She used every lesson John had taught her, improvising, adapting, fighting dirty. At the last second, Elitha lunged, her blade aimed for John. Zora stepped in, took the hit. But before she fell, she stabbed Elitha in the heart. Both women collapsed. John ran to Zora's side. "No," he whispered. "Not again." She looked up, blood on her lips. "It's okay." "No, it's not." He pulled her into his arms as the ship began to shake. The charge exploded. Outside, the flagship burst into white fire. The rest of the fleet paused, lost command. And as they hesitated, Earth ships arrived. Sleek, shiny, full of fire. Terran Defense Fleet. They opened fire. The Blood Fleet broke apart. Some fled. Some burned. The war was over. Later, in the med bay aboard an Earth cruiser, John sat by Zora's side. She was alive. Barely. But she was smiling. "You stayed," she whispered. "Always." The Earth commander walked in. "She saved 1,000 lives," he said. "And you, Carter, you made humanity proud." John just looked at her. "She's one of us now." Weeks passed. The Blood Council was shaken. The galaxy whispered about the human who stood against a fleet, about the alien princess who chose freedom over blood. Starbase 9 was rebuilt. Zara and John stayed. Together. Not because of duty, but because they wanted to. One evening, under the stars, Zora asked, "Do you think they'll come again?" John smiled. "Let them." He reached for her hand. "We'll be ready."